Hello, true crime and wine time friends. I am your host, Terry Dussault. And before we get into this week's episode, I am going to get my wine ready for my wine time. Today, I have a Robert Mondavi Napa Valley Merlot, year 2013. Ooh, that smells good. It's cooled off a little bit here in Texas, so it's time for me to pull out the red wine. If you want to support me and true crime and wine time, please join our Patreon fan club at patreon.com/true crime and wine time. We have 3 different tiers of membership, and each include additional content and exclusive content based on the tier. You can also interact with me directly on our Facebook page at True Crime and Wine Time or on the Twitter at Terry True Crime. Thank you for listening to True Crime and Wine Time. Let's get started with our episode this week. Today I'm covering a missing persons case about Kimberly Langwell, who went missing on July 9th, 1999 in Beaumont, Texas. This is a case that as of today does not have an ending, and the family does not have closure. This is the type of case that drives me crazy. Not knowing, no clues, nothing. How is that possible? I don't get it. Okay, let's get started. Kimberly had dinner plans with her daughter at 6:30, and her last contact that has been known was a phone call she made to her daughter Tiffany, confirming she would pick her up at 6:30 in the evening on Friday, July 9th. On July 9th, 1999, Kimberly went to her ex-boyfriend's to help him with a home improvement project and was never seen again. When Kim did not arrive home on time, her daughter Tiffany, who was 15 at the time, called the ex-boyfriend to see where her mom was and say, "Hey, where's mom?" And was told that her mom had already left, and then the ex-boyfriend began yelling at Tiffany and wanted to know why he wasn't invited to dinner. Sounds to me like he didn't really care. He just wanted to know why he wasn't invited to dinner. Now, according to Kimberly's sister, Kimberly was trying to stay friends with her ex, even after moving out of his house, splitting up, and beginning a new relationship, which her sister felt was where Kim made the biggest mistake of her life. Now, let me stop and say that the first part is all based on Kimberly's family's point of view. Her sister said about 6 months before Kim went missing, she had started warning her sister that she felt her boyfriend was becoming very obsessive. And before Kimberly had moved out, which was about 6 months before her disappearance, Kimberly had told her sister and friends that if anything happened to her, they should look at her ex-boyfriend because he had threatened to kill her, he was violent, and was obsessive. And Kim even gave them locations to look for her body if she went missing. Okay, friends, wow. I don't know about you, but this freaks me out. Did Kim predict her future? Did she know what was going to happen? All I can say, girls, friends, trust your gut. If you're telling people where to find your body, stay away from that person. Don't go near them. Do not try to stay friends. Okay? They're an ex. Okay, I got to take a drink. Sorry. After Kim's daughter notified Kim's current boyfriend that her mom never showed up for dinner, he went looking for her, and he found her car, which was a 1994 Nissan Altima, at what was back then an Eckerd's drugstore located on the corner of Dowling Road and Flynn Boulevard. Now, you can go to our website, truecrimeandwinetime.com, and under the episode notes, you can see pictures of her car and other pictures and documents from this case. Now, Kim's purse and keys were gone, but her cell phone and other personal items were left in the abandoned car. Now, I personally can't imagine Why she would take her purse, but not her cell phone. I mean, to me, this is very suspicious, especially since Kim was known to always be on the phone, just like a lot of us. I also can't help but think that if she was scared of her ex-boyfriend, that she would keep her cell phone close in case of an emergency. And also, she would keep that cell phone close in case her daughter needed to get in touch with her. Now, extensive searches of the area around her abandoned car turned up no clues as to what had happened. Back in 1999, there was not the camera on every corner as there is today. There were no signs of a struggle and no evidence that the police have mentioned or released. However, police feel there was foul play involved. As I mentioned, the last phone call was with Kimberly's daughter, Tiffany. After this, Kimberly has never been heard from again by her friends and family. Kimberly's family was distraught, and her brother, Norman, set out on his own to try to find out what happened to his sister. He told a reporter that he set up his own database and was collecting data and evidence on his own in hopes of finding his sister. Family and friends have said there is no way that Kim would have willingly left her daughter, who she had raised on her own and was very close to. She wouldn't have just walked away from her in her life. Now, Susan, Kim's sister, and Norman, her brother, put out flyers and worked to get the word out. Now, a special angel by the name of Dee Dee Keene, who worked with America's Missing, Abducted, and Lost Persons Ministry. She was a special angel. Well, Dee Dee had moved to Vidor months before Kimberly was reported missing. Upon seeing the news about Kimberly, Dee Dee immediately got involved, all the way up until her death. And she, along with her husband, they distributed flyers with Kimberly Langwell information around the area her car was found. They talked to people on the corners, walked around. They were out there beating the streets. Now, on July 9th each year, up until Dee Dee's death in 2017, Dee Dee and her husband could be seen at the corner of the parking lot where Kimberly was last seen passing out flyers and holding a sign that said, "Gone, but not forgotten." Now, friends, I want to stop and take a minute to tell you a little bit about Dee Dee Keene, who truly was an angel and friend to so many. Dee Dee wasn't only a volunteer, she was a survivor of a kidnapping, abduction, and rape. She was dedicated and motivated to helping families of missing loved ones, not only through prayer, but through action. Dee Dee worked to keep the case in the spotlight, on the news, online, in the paper, and in the community. As I mentioned above, Dee Dee was out on July 9th each year, reminding the community that Kimberly Langwell was still missing and that clues are needed. Now, I personally want to thank Dale, Dee Dee's husband, and her family for sharing Dee Dee with the families and for supporting her cause. Her work will never be forgotten. Friends and family are still looking for Kimberly and want to know what happened to her. I can't imagine what this family has gone through over the last 20 years. Not knowing what happened, as I said, would drive me literally crazy. Time for a drink and to take some deep breaths. Now, while doing my research online, I found several articles and theories about the case, which you can find on our website at truecrimeandwinetime.com under episode 2. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about the theories. One person online said that they believe Kimberly was abducted and killed by the serial killer Brandon Scott Laverne from Louisiana, and that he buried her somewhere off of Highway 13. Now, Brandon Scott Laverne was convicted of killing 2 women in Lafayette, Louisiana, one in 1999 and one in 2012. Now, no connections to Kimberly Langwell's case were found. However, I want to say anything is possible. It's a very easy drive from Lafayette to Beaumont and vice versa. Now, I also found a theory from Melissa posted online that maybe Kimberly was one of the victims of the Texas killing fields. For those of you who have not heard of the Texas killing fields, it is about a 25-acre patch of land situated off Interstate 45. And since the 1970s, 30 bodies of murder victims have been found within the killing fields area. Now, I can tell you that there is no indication that Kimberly was one of the victims. The majority of the victims of the Texas killing fields were aged 12 to 25, whereas Kimberly was 34, and Beaumont is well outside of the 25-acre killing field area. Then again, there are still many young females who have disappeared from this area and are still missing. Kim's family feels that the ex-boyfriend is the person who made Kimberly disappear. I found commentary and suspicion from others around the ex-boyfriend, and whose name I could not find in any official news article, but I did find his name in a blog that was published online by a person who said she was Kimberly's sister. Since I did not find the ex-boyfriend's name listed in any official news article, I am not going to share his name here on this podcast. Based on the publishing I found online by the person who said they were Kimberly's sister, she fully believes that the ex-boyfriend is the person who is responsible for Kimberly's disappearance. Kimberly's sister said that when she called the ex-boyfriend to tell him that Kimberly was missing and they hadn't found her, July 9th, he said to her, "Good. Now you will see how I feel." He then called to tell them that he was fixing to take a lie detector test, and he was yelling at them very loud. Okay, dude, that's creepy. Anyway, about 3 months later, Kim's sister said that the ex-boyfriend called the house, and when she picked up, she heard this overly cheery voice as the ex-boyfriend said, "Hey, have you heard from Kim lately?" Like he didn't have a care in the world and that it was no big deal. Okay, what in the hell? This man is lucky they didn't call me, as I would have went off on him. And trust me, he would have never made the mistake of calling me again. Okay, deep breath as he is not finished. In November 2002, the ex-boyfriend went up to Tiffany, Kimberly's daughter, and asked her if she had heard from her mom lately. Now, Kim's sister said she picked up the phone and she called him as soon as Tiffany told her, and she told him how sick she thought he was. Kimberly's sister, I agree with you. He is sick. Everybody in the Beaumont area in Texas knew Kimberly had not been found. So whether he was involved or not, this is just plain cruel. Just cruel. Okay. While Kim had him on the phone, telling him how sick of an individual was, he then asked her if she wanted to know what question on the lie detector test he failed. And she said yes. Like, of course she did. He said, "They asked me if I killed her. And I said no." Okay, guys, I don't know about you, but that just takes my breath away and I can't even describe the feeling I have. It's just wrong. And it's insane to think that he is tormenting them this way. Now, Kim's sister also went on to say that on the first Thanksgiving after her sister's disappearance, her and her friends started receiving phone calls where the person didn't say anything. They just sat there on the phone. The phone calls went on for a couple of years and only stopped after, on one of the calls, Kim's sister heard a scanner in the background and gasped, and the person hung up immediately when he or she realized that their scanner was on. Kim's sister went on to say that she believes the ex-boyfriend's wife, then girlfriend, has to know something, as she had stated that she was at the same parking lot on that Friday that Kimberly went missing. It is believed that the girlfriend worked for the ex-boyfriend and had always had a thing for him and hated Kimberly. The family also said that the ex-boyfriend went to the bank every Friday in the same shopping center as the Eckert's drugstore, where Kimberly's car was found, except for that Friday, July 9th, 1999. Now, that is very suspicious to me. I can't help but hope and wonder what evidence the police has that they haven't shared with the public, and why they haven't come out and said that this ex-boyfriend is or isn't a person of interest. Now, as I mentioned, Kimberly has been missing since July 9th, 1999. At the time of Kimberly's disappearance, she was 34 and was last seen wearing a white t-shirt that had a Cozumel imprint on the front with a diver on the back, a pair of blue jeans, and white tennis shoes. She had on a silver Seiko watch, a silver necklace with an angel medallion, silver hoop earrings, and a gold wedding band. Kimberly had a scar under her chin and a reddish-purple birthmark on the middle to lower section of her back. You can see a picture of Kimberly Langwell on our webpage, along with additional photos from the case and links to our resources for this podcast. Now, 20 years is a long time for a family to not know where their loved one is. Kimberly's daughter, Tiffany, grew up, got married, and left town, never knowing and always wondering what happened to her mother. I'm asking you to please take a look and report any information you have from that date or anything you've learned since. Every small detail is important. I hope that with the passing years, people who know what happened to Kimberly will come forward and help this family find their beloved daughter, sister, friend. And to the unnamed ex-boyfriend, I want to say, if you killed Kimberly, it's not too late to turn yourself in and ask the family and God for forgiveness. You're in your late 50s, and you've had the privilege of living your life, retiring from your business, which Kimberly did not have. Or to the persons who took Kimberly, come forward and give this family the answers they deserve. If you have any information, no matter how small, as to what happened that day, July 9th, 1999, or to the whereabouts of Kimberly Langwell, please notify the Beaumont Police Department at 409-880-3865, or you can make an anonymous call to Crime Stoppers at 1-800-252-8477, where you can remain anonymous. Oh, wow. I am exhausted and so worked up after this case. 20 years. Insane. And I just can't get over wondering, how does a family go on not knowing? How do you move on to the next day, live your life, and not let the person who took Kimberly also take your life? To all the family, friends who are missing loved ones, I just want to say that your strength is amazing. I don't know if I could do it. I want to say thank you for listening to True Crime and Wine Time. Until next week, stay safe, watch out for crime, and, as I will be doing, enjoy your wine time.